All right, so um, we are first and foremost like to welcome everybody to Hebrew News Network. This is actually our first broadcast. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nate Jr. Then we also have Nate online as well, Nate the third. It is a father and son. And we just first and foremost want to introduce ourselves to everybody and kind of give you a brief synopsis on what this channel is all about. Um, basically, what Hebrew News Network is about, it is about things pertaining to prophecy around the world that has to do with not just God's chosen people, the Hebrew Israelites, but uh, basically what prophecy has to do with everybody concerning mankind in general. So there is a lot of different spaces out where individuals happen to talk a lot about the Bible and a lot of different debates that we see about the Bible. So we kind of want to stay clear of that. We may introduce it, conversations later on down the line, but considering the time and the climate that we're in right now, as far as the end of the world is concerned, we thought it would probably be more fruitful for us to discuss different things that are going on in the world pertaining to prophecy, pertaining to signs, wars, rumors of wars, all types of destruction that's going on. We figured it would be best for us to, as far as edification is concerned, for us to deal with things in that realm so we can help those that are actually seeking understanding, trying to comprehend and make decisions on their walk pertaining to salvation. Because it's going to be needed. It's going to be needed for all. Understanding is going to be needed for everybody for you to get salvation. So um, we figured, like I said, this would be a better space for us as far as dealing with the Bible, dealing with religion and stuff like that, which we really don't ascribe to. But at the same time, we do have a religion. We do have a consistent walk of life, and you know, throughout time, that's known to be your religion in a sense. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we want to do as far as religion is concerned. Our walk of life, we want to show uh, and help you get an understanding on different things that are going on. Welcome you into our world in a sense on how we see the Bible, how we comprehend it, how we understand it. So that's mainly what it's all about. Nate, do you have anything?
No, I think you put everything on the table.
All right. Well, so what we will be doing here, if you don't have nothing, Nate, what we'll be doing, we'll be going through different articles that are going on, different articles that or different situations that are going on in the world. We'll be looking at some of those, a few articles and stuff like that, and tying them to prophecies according to how God has things set up. And that's mainly what it's about. Just trying to bring some discerning prophecy, making things a lot clearer for those who don't have understanding on what it takes to make it through the time that's coming. So what you got on your end?
I'm up first. Okay. So I had something that's modern or a current event is
Mm-hmm.
the shooting in Bondi Beach
Mm-hmm.
in Australia. Um, from what I read, I think 15 people were injured, and
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe 40 or so more. I mean, 15 people died, 40 or so more were injured.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it last night. and a lot of a new phrase, a new popular word is anti-Semitism.
Hmm.
But I wanted to put the disclaimer out there first that this is something tragic. I don't want to downplay, um, you know, the scale of this. This is anytime, something happens and people die, that's fortunate. But at the same time, like I said, there is a new phrase that people like to, kind of throw in your face if you say anything that's um, contrary to, the Jewish, that's not in support of Jews. And so I wanted to put that disclaimer out there, but it what it seems like to me is there is an agenda to kind of put their struggle on the forefront.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if this is the best current event to address it because it is
Hmm.
a tragic thing, like I said. But really, you really can't really say anything. Like me and my dad were talking about last night. Like when Kyrie Irving came out and tweeted that movie. I can't remember what the name of the movie was called. Um, he
Hebrews to Negroes.
what is it?
It was Hebrews to Negroes.
Yeah, that when he tweeted that when
Yeah,
he
he
that
shared it.
movie, yeah, when he shared that movie, him and Kanye, Kanye, I can't remember what he said, but as soon as that stuff happened, they lost brand deals. Kanye was no longer a billionaire, and Kanye, he's not the brightest tool in the shed, but even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right.
Um, and Kyrie Irving, all he did was shared a movie,
Right.
got
Right.
lots of backlash. Um, and so, like I said, I just realized a recent effort to kind of put their struggle on the forefront to where, you know, you look at them, the person who doesn't really have discernment looks at them and, makes them like a victim. Now, like I said, in this case, yes, it's tragic. That is, their victim, but they would be victims. But, I just kind of look at it and realize, um, kind of see what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know,
So what actually happened in that attack? What read that article and let's see what happened in that situation.
okay. It says Melbourne, Australia. Australia prepared for the funerals on Wednesday for some of the 15 victims of an anti Semitic mass shooting during a Hanukkah celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach, an attack that police said was inspired by the Islamic State group.
Hmm.
The victims were between 10 and 87 years old. 22 people who were injured in the attack remained in Sydney hospitals. Wednesday, six of them in a critical condition.
Hmm.
Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said Tuesday that the IS link assessment was based on evidence obtained, including the presence of Islamic State flags in the vehicle that has been seized. Among the injured in the hospital is Ahmed Al Ahmed, hailed as a hero after he was captured on video tackling and disarming one of the assailants before pointing the man's weapon at him and then settling it on the ground. Three other people who tried to stop the gunman were shot and killed.
Hmm. Wow. So where was that at?
This was Bondi Beach. It was a father and son. Um, it was a father and son that kind of, I guess, um, you know, did a
Kind of stopped it, forwarded it.
no, no, no. They were the ones doing it.
Oh, the one that.
Father
Oh,
and
wow.
son. Yeah, I guess they were both um, Muslim or part of
Oh,
the Nation of Islam, or something, I guess. But
yeah.
um,
So like we say, we definitely show our our gratitude and also not gratitude, but our condolences for the lives lost. Um, it's lately it's been a lot of I guess a lot of uh, oh man, you got to be careful with your words, but it's been a lot of what they call anti-Semitism going on. So pertaining to that article right there, and the reason why we want to bring this out is because um, so so the incident that happened, of course, it was a sad occasion, and RIP to those that lost their lives, and Lord have mercy at the set time. But we wanted to kind of bring that out because the more and more, if these things continue to ramp up, somehow or another, it will be blamed on. It'll be blamed on the people that are considered Hebrew Israelites. So, in addition to that article right there, I wanted to go back to incident that took place in December 2019, and this was something that took place at a kosher supermarket, right, in New Jersey. And let's see who they blamed for it. So this is an article that I googled pertaining to the incident that took place. This incident here just kind of brought it back to my memory. So it said in December 2019, two assailants with an entrance in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement carried out a targeted attack on a kosher supermarket in Jersey City, New Jersey, which authorities classified as an act of domestic terrorism fueled by anti-Semitism and anti-police sentiment. Details of the attack, the locations and victims are included in this article. The primary incident occurred at the JC Kosher Supermarket in Jersey City. The two shooters, David N. Anderson and Francine Graham, killed three people inside the store. Mendel Ferenz, the store owner, Moshe Douche, a rabbi, rabbi, anyway, he's a rabbinical student.
Rabbinical.
Rabbinical, thank you. Rabbinical student. And Douglas Miguel Rodriguez, a store employee. Um, Before the market attack, the assailants shot and killed Jersey City police, Detective Joseph Seals at a nearby cemetery when they approached a stolen van, which was linked to a separate murder case. The attackers engaged in a prolonged gun battle with law enforcement that lasted for hours, putting local schools on lockdown. So the group affiliation is what I really wanted to point out. While an FBI search was conducted at the Harlem headquarters of the Israelite Church of God in Jesus Christ, a specific Black Hebrew Israelite group, officials did not definitively establish a formal link between the shooters and the organization itself, suggesting they acted on their own. The Southern Poverty Law Center classifies certain Black Hebrew Israelite sects as hate groups due to their extremist anti-white and anti-Semitic beliefs, though many adherents are not associated with such ideologies. But you would have to go through the article itself to read that last part. The very top of the headline, it says in December 2019, two assailants with an entrance in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. So so it's possible they had nothing to do with the Israelite movement at all. The
That's the
article said,
headline.
yeah, well the on the Google when I typed it in, the first thing came up was in December 2019, two assailants, so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But it says that they had an entrance in the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. So we just wanted to point that out because that article specifically because just to kind of show how things like that being done to our brother Esau, things like that being done to him, even though that's our brother, we just got to put the facts out there. Eventually, the more and more this is kind of like ramped up against them, and the more and more the Israelites wake up and turn to the word and stuff like that, these type of cases will be somewhat in a sense blamed on us. So we just want to like read a couple places in the Bible pertaining to this right here, and then we will move on to our next article. So do you have a scripture in mind? I have some myself.
You can go first if you got one.
Okay. All right. Well, the first one I have in mind is pertaining to things like this, and not necessarily is there ridicule coming against the Israelite movement right now very heavy, but these are different things that kind of where we can kind of see where it's going. By putting their struggle on the forefront, it's going to kind of highlight people that are against them in a sense, and not that we're against them, we just against the lies. But Matthew 24, the Lord warned us about this. What was eventually going to come. Matthew 24 and around Matthew 24 and verse 21. Matthew 24 and verse 21. If you can read that, please.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no
You guys,
nor ever.
yeah, is your mic on the mic or something?
You said what?
It's like a noise, like you're rubbing something. You're rubbing against something.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It's just like it's rubbing against something.
Is it good now?
Is that me or you?
I don't know.
Press mute. Press mute on your thing right quick. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, that's you.
Is it? I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah. Okay, go ahead though. All right, what you got?
Okay, hold on. You said verse 21.
Yes, verse 21.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be.
Okay, so let's go look at something else. Let's go look at Isaiah. No, Jeremiah 30. Jeremiah 30, and it's making reference to the same exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not. You know, it never been like never. It's never been anything on this earth as bad as what's about to happen as far as the great tribulation concerned. But we just want to see like now who is really pertaining to in a sense. So 30 and pick this up at verse start at verse 6.
Ask ye now, and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
Mm-hmm.
Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it.
Uh-huh.
It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it.
Okay, so Jacob in this case right here, we're referring to the children of Israel. And Jacob himself, he's not around right now. He passed away, thousands of years ago, but he does have his seed, his remnant still walking the earth, which would fall in the category of the Israelites, another name being Jacob, named after their father, right? So it's going to eventually narrow down to a time like we saw in Matthew 24. It's going to be a time of destruction, such as never been seen before. And we're talking about the same time frame here. Bad time, which is why the verse is saying, ask ye now and see whether man doth travail with child. Then the question is, okay, well, if a man doesn't travail with child, then it says, well, wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? So if that's the case, if a man doesn't bring forth children, then why is it that he's, in the vision here, or what the Lord is showing Jeremiah, why is it that I see a man travailing like a woman would? When she goes to have a child, the pain is excruciating, especially as it gets closer to delivery. But in this case right here, why is a man travailing like that? And then in the next verse, in verse 7, it says, alas, For that day is great, so that none is like it. So this is the same exact time that Jesus was talking about in Matthew 24. But we also see here what it really narrows down to. It narrows down to the children of Israel, who the world is really going to be coming after. So it said, "It's even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it." So we just wanted to kind of point that out, so you could pay attention and keep an eye on things, because even though it didn't happen to us personally, these things have an indirect effect on us. It kind of creates sympathy in the minds of all the people in the world when they see something happen to what we call Jewish people. When something happened to them that's bad, then you have everybody want to come together, or the media makes it seem as if everybody coming together in support of them, which we're not in opposition of wrong of supporting them. You know what I'm saying? We're not in opposition. We're not against somebody mourning and hurting for losing a loved one. But at the same time, we also see the full scale of what can be the repercussions of something like this happening to them. So we just want to point it out and make sure everybody keeps an eye on these type of things, because these things, along with us believing in Jesus, will eventually be turned against us. But so let's go to what we have next. I wanted to look at something like we were talking about yesterday. I wanted to take a look at this article on a page called "Now the End Begins," and I wanted to kind of look at just kind of point out an article pertaining to troops being moved into Venezuela. So it says the U.S. military is moving more weapons and units into the Caribbean that gave President Trump powerful new options to escalate his pressure campaign on Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro and potentially bring him down. So before we read the article, what's your thoughts on these different wars that are going on around the world? And I'm saying that because it just seemed like, man, we can never get out of war.
Yeah, it's a sign. It's a sign of the times. That's
Mm.
really all it is.
Yeah.
It's the wars and rumors of wars.
Huh?
It's the wars and rumors of wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I think of. That's all I can think of when I hear about it.
Yeah. It's like all the different politicians get in there and they talk about, we're gonna pull it, bring the troops back home, we're gonna stop this war and stop this war. And the next thing you know, another war going on. I think we've been the Ukraine war um has been going on for what, almost 6 years now?
Yeah, the feud between Israel and Pakistan been going on
Oh
since
my
the
God.
40s.
Yeah.
They're going
Yeah.
crazy, and that's one thing. Well, I mean, that's one thing I wanted to say. Like, it seems, on the surface, the incident that happened in Bondi Beach, it is tragic. Um, but when I see these things, and it's not just that incident, it's a collective, it's a compilation of different things that I see of what is going to usher in. Right now, some people, the line is kind of blurred as far as who's right in the
Yeah.
in dealing with Israel and Pakistan.
Hmm.
But I feel like there may be an effort to kind of make it black and white as to Israel being the victim and Pakistan, just being, you know, the aggressor or whatever. But
Is that who Israel's attacking? They're attacking Pakistan
that's who they're in war with.
or Palestinians?
Oh, is it? Is it Palestine?
So I'm like, wait a minute. The
Yeah,
Palestinians.
Palestine. Tomato, tomato.
No.
No, but yeah, Palestine. Everything that's going on over there.
Yeah.
The more we see, um, and I'm not saying it could just be, because the Lord is in control of all of that anyway.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we know that they're gonna be the ones that's, pretty much ushering in the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's it's about what it's going to usher in, what these things are going to lead to ultimately. But it's all in God's hands at the end of the day.
Right, right. Well, the crazy thing about that, we can look at some in the scriptures right quick. I'm gonna read this article, but you should pull it up. Pull up uh, what went down with the covenant. So, for example, like we can look at what the Lord had said about um, Sarah and Hagar. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying, and how the Lord was mainly just how He was calling out Isaac as the one who the covenant went to. Excuse me, because I say that because this a long ongoing war. This is not just something that took place in 1948. You know what I'm saying? Once the Jewish state became what it is now, this goes back even further. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can kind of point that out. So it would have something to do with Isaac and Ishmael. You know what I'm saying? So if you could find that, while you look at that, I'm gonna just read over this right here. This Venezuelan article. So it says here the Trump administration has poured an extraordinary amount of firepower into the Caribbean basin. Stealth fighters, electronic warfare aircraft, naval strike groups, surveillance drones, and refueling assets stays within striking distance of Venezuela. Officially, this is about narcotics trafficking, and sanctions enforcement. In reality, it's about it's about leverage, regime pressure, oil, of course, and the unmistakable message that war is coming. Just ask the Secretary of War if peace is the goal. It's not. So in this article here, it also has what we're talking about right below it. It says, "And you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So we're gonna see different wars and different skirmishes and things like that, uh, you know, happening until the end of time. What we want to do is at Hebrew News Network, we just kind of want to, show you these different things so it'll allow you to have some ease as we begin to move throughout these different events that's going on in the world. But that's something else that we have to keep an eye on because it could escalate to something else. Um, countries like Venezuela or Cuba and stuff like that. These small places right here, they do kind of cause like Russia and China to show a force of strength. You know what I'm saying? Like they come out sometimes and make threats and say things like, they're going to protect these small countries and stuff from America. So one reason this is important for us to pay attention to, because when you have Russia and China start to get involved in these skirmishes and eventually major wars, these things will affect us because at some point in time, these will turn into world wars. So, but what do you have on the Isaac and Ishmael situation with Abraham and Sarah and Hagar?
Got Genesis 17 and verse 18. Well,
Genesis 7.
yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find my my iPad. Anyway, all right. So let's see here. I probably can. All right, Genesis 17 and 18. Want me to read it for you, or you got it?
I can read it.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
And God said unto Abraham, well, this is verse 15. And
Okay.
God said unto Abraham, as for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her name Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear?
Hmm.
Abraham said unto God, oh, that Ishmael might live before thee. And God said, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as
Mm-hmm.
for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my
Okay.
covenant,
Mm,
but my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time in the next year.
mm. So as we can see here, that's really what this whole fight is about. Abraham having two sons, you know, Ishmael being the oldest son, and then we have Isaac being the younger son, and naturally what'll happen is you have the covenant, birthright, so on and so forth, go to the older child, older son here. But in this case right here, the way Ishmael came into the picture, it wasn't something that the Lord orchestrated. I mean, it happened, but at the same time, you know, the Lord came to Abraham and told him that it would be between him and Sarah. So that being the case, um, you still have, this is why we got the fighting going on between the Palestinians and Esau. The Israelis. This is why the fighting's going on, because these individuals think that the land belongs to them. And like we saw earlier, pertaining to Jacob's trouble. Well, Jacob's trouble, Jacob's children, that's who the land actually belongs to. Until that time, we have these individuals fighting. So, like he says here, um, and you picking me up good in my mic, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, like it says here, and Abraham said, well, in verse 18, and Abraham said unto God, "Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee." And God said, "Sarah, thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him." So the covenant is going to be passed down to Isaac. Now, the individuals that's fighting in the land, we got Esau and Ishmael fighting in the land right now. Okay. But the land belongs to Isaac. Ishmael feels like the land belongs to him. Therefore, he's in the land fighting over the land, which is why we have back to what we were addressing in the first place, which is why we have a constant war going on over there. The other player will come into the picture in Genesis, I believe, 26 or 36,
27.
26,
27.
27. So the other individual, in this case right here, we're talking about Esau, and Esau is also a son of Isaac. Now, keep in mind, the Lord said that He's going to establish His covenant with Isaac. He's going to establish His covenant with Isaac. So now, at this point, now that the covenant is established with Isaac, Isaac has two sons now. These two sons he has, one of them name is Ishmael. I mean, one of them is Esau. The other one is Jacob. So Genesis 27 in verse Genesis 27. We're not gonna look at. I kind of want to see what happened when they first came in. Then we'll move off of this. It was Genesis 26 and where they were fighting. Well, we don't need that. Genesis 27 is fine. We'll just look at what's the name. We'll just go down to the part where Esau comes in to get his blessing that he thought he was supposed to get.
Verse 30.
Okay. So read that, please.
And it came to pass, as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from his hunting. And he also had made savory meat, and brought it unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that my soul may bless me.
Mm-hmm.
Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? He said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. And
Mm-hmm.
Isaac trembled very exceedingly, and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed.
Mm.
And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety and hath taken away thy blessing. And he said, Is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he
Mm,
said, Hast thou not reserved a blessing for me?
mm,
And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be with the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And
okay. So we're good right there. So what we wanted to point out here is that Esau originally had the birthright. Okay. He's supposed to got the covenant, you know what I'm saying, being passed down to him. At least that's what it looked like on the surface for us. But as you go back and get understanding on the story between Rebecca, Isaac, um, you'll see that in her womb, these two children were fighting. These two babies were fighting. And the Lord let her know from the very beginning that you have two nations in your womb, and the elder gonna serve the younger. The younger being Jacob, who came out after Esau. And ever since then, the Lord had already, excuse me, the Lord had already set in place who was going to receive the covenant. So all the different things happening, all the different things that happened as far as the covenant being given to Jacob, it may look strange to us, but it was already set to happen. Lord had already called it. But because of that, as we can see that Esau was upset, and he said that his brother had, mainly tricked him 2 times. He stole my birthright, and what else he did? He took the blessing, I think.
mm-hmm. it says,
But uh-huh.
it says, He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing.
Okay. So that's how Esau feels. Esau is the one that we know that run the media, whether it's radio, whether it's TV, owning football teams, baseball, basketball teams, you know what I'm saying, movies, all that industry. Um, these are the ones that have a problem with what we know today as the Negroes, in a sense, because that's our brother, and he feels like the covenant should have been given to him. So, because of that, this is what we have going on. Let's look at Psalms 83. Psalms 83, and it's funny, we're talking about this because it kind of goes back to, what we first started off with in the first place. The thing that happened with Esau the other day, yesterday, with 16 people being injured. Well, I think it was 16 dead and 40 others hospitalized in an attack at Bondi Beach. So somehow or another they come back up, but these are your main players in the Bible in the first place. These two individuals that are fighting over Jerusalem now is who is going to be at the top of the list that we're about to read about now. So Psalms 83, and pick this up at verse 1.
Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They
Uh-huh.
have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
Okay, so now notice what it's saying here. It says, they have taken crafty counsel against our people and consulted against our hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So in this case right here, you know, people may not believe it. It doesn't really matter. But at the end of the day, the Lord's people happen to be the people that's been scattered in the worldwide captivity. It's just that simple. And the Lord's going, he gonna rouse up, and the whole world gonna see real soon. But in the meantime, notice what he says. So he said, "They have said, 'Come and let us cut them off.'" So there are some individuals behind the scenes, covertly planning, to or working effectively to try to keep this people that belong to God, to keep them in the dark, in a sense. That's why it says, "They have said, 'Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.'" And matter of fact, when we skip down to verse, well, you can read 5 and 6, and let's just see who the first two players that are on the list.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes.
Mm-hmm. So pertaining to them consulting together with one consent, the ones that are behind this, the very two on the first, the very two at the beginning of this list here is Edom and Ishmael, and these are the ones that happen to be in the land. Edom, or Esau, being a son of uh, Isaac, and Ishmael being the son of Abraham. Both of these individuals believe that, because they're older as well, they believe that the land belongs to them, and therefore, which is why we have them fighting over it today. So, but just pay attention to all the different wars that are going on. I'm sure there'll probably be something else coming up here soon. I also wanted to point out something else that the CDC is now saying, and this is pertaining to let's see here. You have anything else?
No.
Hmm?
Not really. Oh, I was thinking that it's crazy that Palestine and Islam is what they're the
Yeah.
Muslims, let's say
Hmm. Yeah.
Islam Muslims. Um, they know that they're Ishmael, and
Right.
they're
Right.
fighting Ishmael's case that he was the firstborn. We're Ishmaelites. That land belongs to us.
Right.
And that's I didn't know that until recently, that's why they want that land, because they feel like
Right.
Ishmael was the firstborn, so it belongs to us.
Yes. Yeah.
And a great point that you made, and which I never thought about, was that Esau hated, well, I mean, of course I've known that, but Esau hated Jacob.
Yeah.
And so he has the same reason, because he was the firstborn, to be in the land right now fighting over it as well.
Right. Right.
And so it really
Yeah.
makes sense.
Huh?
I said, and so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly what's going on. So it's like, the ones that are who the land belongs to. Here it is. We over here, scattered in captivity. And then you have our cousin and our brother in the land fighting over the land, and we have no idea about it in a sense.
Yeah.
But I wanted to point out, I can't remember what it was, but I was just seeing how it was an article I saw the other day, and I should have grabbed it. I thought I did, but it was an article that was kind of pointing out the different side effects of what happened in 2019 or 2020, as far as individuals taking the taking the mm, taking the shot. And it's so the what's the name, the CDC itself, or I think I can't remember who it is exactly. I'll hopefully I can have it next week. But um they're coming out saying how it was absolutely it was bad, and it done knocked off about 30 million people worldwide. You know what I'm saying? But I just wanted to point that out because in Matthew 24. In Matthew 24, it talks about, the pestilence and the earthquakes in diverse places and stuff like that. But it's mainly a tip of the iceberg.
Hmm.
And what we have to do is just make sure our faith is up to par, so we don't feel compelled to make any irrational decisions.
Right.
Even if they put fear out there, try to scare you and stuff like that. Being a saint or a servant of God, we got to make sure our faith is in God, so we can just kind of sit back and pay attention and move accordingly. So I want to bring that out. I wish I could find it though, but yeah. So see if there's anything going on next week. Maybe we'll have a few more articles for you guys. We just want to get our feet wet this week. Kind of introduce what the page is about. We will be going through different articles around the world. If you find some things that you feel important and need to be discussed as far as current events are concerned, at the bottom of the screen you see the phone number and along with the email. So feel free to reach out to us, and we'll look at those articles and see if we can actually bring it up and discuss it. You have something, Nate?
Yeah, you remember you wanted to talk about the role that AI has to play.
Yes.
Remember us talking about that and what the mark of the beast actually will be.
Right. Yeah. It was the real ID.
The digital ID in the
The
UK.
digital ID, yes. The digital ID. I just couldn't find an article good enough, but I want to get an article on it. I want to get a great article on it so we can actually do a deep dive into it and also look at some of the sentiments around the world. You know what I'm saying? Some of the sentiments around the world as far as how people are looking at it, because you do have people somewhat in a sense scared, you know what I'm saying? Like thinking, well, because of the digital ID, that's mainly the end of the world. Like this right here this is it. Um, what I say is, excuse me, use all the technology you can, but don't take the mark of the beast, which we're gonna have to read about before we wrap up here. Um, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of what this digital ID is, it is an electronic version of your identification stored securely on a device like a smartphone that lets you prove who you are online or in person for services you're using biometrics, such as face or touch ID and encryption for security, offering convenience but raising privacy concerns about potential tracking and data breaches. With example like Apple's digital ID for passports and state issued mobile licenses for TSA checks. Um, so mainly what the like I say the consensus is saying about this is that the road is being paved for the mark of the beast. You know what I'm saying, by way of this invasive technology as far as the digital ID is concerned. But we don't even have to go too far back to recall what happened in 2020, right? You didn't even necessarily have to have a digital ID. You just couldn't walk inside of a store without a mask on. You know what I'm saying? So that right there is showing us how things can change in a moment. You know what I'm saying? I think 2020 was like a beta test as far as like to kind of see how far we can go, because whether people want to believe it or not, the Pope has his hands in all this stuff that's going on. He's the king of the world. You know what I'm saying? So don't be deceived, because it may seem like America is just acting and the world is just acting and doing things and releasing different types of pestilence on the world. Um, without them being involved, but they without the Pope being involved, but he's absolutely involved. Yes, can you please share that? Yes, please share. You gonna bring it to the screen or what?
You said what?
You can bring it on screen. You know that, right? Can you do it on your end?
How do I do that?
You can hit present.
Oh, okay.
and then you can either share your screen or you can put an article on screen. But while he does that, like I was saying, the Pope has his hands in this stuff, and it was like more so like a beta test or the see to see what they can get away with. So in the end, we're gonna see it full fledged, and that's what we're trying to warn you all about. To be mindful, to pay attention to what's going on. Even though the digital ID is something that's going to sweep the whole world. Because a few months ago they was thinking it was just the UK, but it's going to sweep the whole world. So that being the case, we need to keep an eye on that type of stuff. And I just want to read something according to the Bible, Revelation 13. Revelation 13, I believe, verse 18, pertaining to the digital ID and what you really should be concerned about, what you really should be paying attention to. So, Revelation 13 and verse 18. Well, I'm going to come up to verse 16. It says, He called all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 So that 600 plus three score is 60. One score is 20. Two score is 40. And three score is 60. And then it says at the end, and six. So that's where you get the 666 from. It's in Revelation 13 and verse 18. And even though they're rolling out the digital ID and stuff like that, it's not, we haven't got there yet. By the time we get there, you can best believe that it's gonna be it's gonna be wide open, and we're gonna know without a doubt what it is. So not right now, but definitely pay attention to it. All right, so let's see here. All right. Where should I start reading this at? At the very top or come down some? I see your room, son. I
Hold
can't hear
on.
you. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
My
you're echoing. You're echoing. What happened?
my webcam disconnected. 1 second.
Were you bent over?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay. Don't feel bad. Usually mine does it, but I've been watching it. I don't like those cords.
And having some technical difficulties. Hold on. And I'm echoing now.
Oh no, you good now. You might have to go back into settings. Settings and then put it back on camera.
Okay.
You get
Hold
it?
on. Okay. Well, you can start reading right there.
Okay. Well, let me. No, I want to read that. I want to read the what's the name. I would like to read. Come back down. Scroll back up. Yeah, right there. No. Okay. Yeah. Let's just what's the name. Let's just read the title.
Okay.
New digital ID scheme to be rolled out across the UK. A new digital ID scheme will help combat illegal working while making it easier for the vast majority of people to use vital government services. Digital ID will be mandatory for right to work checks by the end of the parliament. You can go ahead and scroll up. So you see how they, make it seem like it's about verification, immigrants and stuff like that, or they may put it out there for safety and be able to identify you and stuff like that. So a lot of things on the surface seem good, but there's always, for the most part, when you're dealing with the society we live in, for the most part, there's always a hidden agenda. Prime Minister announces plans for free digital ID for those living in the UK. And it has some bullet points here. It says, in addition to the Prime Minister announcing plans for free digital ID for those living in the UK, it also curbed the prospect of work for illegal immigrants, a significant factor driving small boat crossings. Okay, so we got to get a digital ID for for this right here. when you can actually just put some soldiers out there and stop the crossings. Scheme would also make it easier for the public to access the services they're entitled to. You see what I'm saying? So now we can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of what this is really about. A new digital ID scheme will help combat illegal working while making it easier for the vast majority of people to use vital government services. Digital ID will be mandatory for right to work checks by the end of the parliament. So you see that right there, right? The digital ID will be mandatory. Now, when this was going on over in the UK, when it was announced about 4 months ago, the prime minister did make it very clear that this is not up for debate, right? And people were kind of freaking out over here about it, while at the same time forgetting that real ID was made mandatory in 2025 here in the United States. Some people already have it. If you look at your license now, you'll see like the little seal on the back of it where we already have it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something that it's like in a sense where the world has came together on one accord, and eventually, it's gonna roll down to like everything. It seems like it's just prepping us for the great tribulation. The scheme will be once again. The scheme will be available to all UK citizens and legal residents, saving time by ending the need for complicated identity checks, which often rely on copies of paper records. So that seems good, though. That sounds good. Oh, I'm tired of dealing with paper, so let me just have a digital ID. Well, how far is too far? Because once the digital ID is not good enough, I mean, there's still a possibility. Your camera's not on yet.
It is, but the background is not.
Okay, okay, okay. Oh,
You gotta put me back in the background until I can fix it and then come back.
okay. Put you back in the background
Yeah,
or back on the stage. Remove you from the stage.
yeah.
Okay. You still can hear me though, right? Oh, okay. All right. Cool. All right. Cool. All right. So, excuse me. But like I say, it sounds like when they say, "Well, we don't want it paper no more," just tied to all these copies and having to carry this paper around. But like I said, how far is too far? Because eventually um, you know, it'll go from the digital ID card to that not being enough, and it's always going to be pushed on safety. So just always keep that in mind. Instead, the rollout will in time make it simpler to apply for services like driving license, childcare, and welfare. Wow. While streamlining access to tax records. The new digital ID will be held on people's phones, just as millions already use the NHS app or contactless mobile payments. There will be no requirement for individuals to carry their ID or be asked to produce it. But digital ID will be mandatory as a means of proving your right to work. Wow. So you're going to have one of these to work, and if you don't have one to work, then guess what? You don't eat as well. So just pay attention. Like we don't want you to have to be scared or in fear of these things that are being rolled out. At the same time, be cautious though. Be very cautious because these are things that are like starting to ramp us up toward the end. We're not there yet though. Um, if you can scroll up a little bit on the page, it says this will stop those with no right to be here from being able to find work, curbing their prospect of earning. That's good. Curbing their prospect of earning money. One of the key pull factors for people who come to the UK illegally. See, it starts out with illegals, but it's going to be a blanket over everybody. It'll send a clear message that if you come here illegally, you will not be able to work, deterring people from making these dangerous journeys. This initiative builds on the government's crackdown on illegal working and its mission to control borders as part of the plan for change. Under this government, illegal working arrests have soared by 50%, and new legislation is being brought forward to help stop illegal working in the gig economy. The proposals also follow the government's success in deporting the first illegal migrants under the landmark UK France returns deal last week. So just wanted to point those out. A few things to pay attention to. You can close that screen out now. Just wanted to kind of point those things out, from the digital ID to the different wars that are taking place. Um, Definitely with definitely things you have to pay attention to pertaining to Ishmael and Esau. Um, Something else we looked at regarding what happened with the shooting yesterday. Uh, just different things that are going on in the world that we need to pay attention to, and we hope that we can be able to bring light to the situation, so you guys can have understanding on how to navigate throughout the world, with the majority of us using the Bible as our guide, along with showing current events and how they go hand in hand. Um, you have anything, Nate, before we close out?
No.
All right. Well, for those that happen to take a look at Hebrew News Network, we like to thank you for taking time out to uh, view our first broadcast. And Lord willing, it's the first of many to come. And as we continue to do it, things will get a whole lot better, and it's going to be a whole lot more busier in the near future. So thank you once again. And Lord willing, we'll be back next Tuesday around the same time. Let's see what is going on with my mouse here. Hmm. There it is. All right, in that stream.